No, I'm happy for you lot to win the league.
What team do you support?
I'm an Arsenal fan.
No, honestly, I'm happy for you lot to win the league. Why is everyone fucking like,
fine.
salute to you, man. Win the league. Go do your thing, fam. Win
Why
it.
do you sound so patronising?
I was saying sorry to you guys a few years ago anyway, so like, it's
you know what?
It's come
Back
back.
to everything. Even us. Beat us 10-0. Do what you want for the rest of the season.
You just don't want us to go unbeaten.
What do you mean want? It's done.
It's
You're
done.
not-
Yeah, we're done.
Finished. Watford punch you man up.
You lot are pathetic.
Watford punch you man up.
Some of you lot are
See,
pathetic.
Watford told
Some
you
of you
hold
lot are
that.
pathetic.
See, this is my
You
issue.
lot are pathetic.
You
You
ain't
lot
got
are
to say
pathetic.
all that.
Sorry.
That's what
No,
I'm
no,
saying.
no, no,
This
you
is-
lot are pathetic.
You get a bit disrespectful.
No, this was
You lot,
already-
you lot,
because
you
we
lot.
had to
But you man were low key like just itching for that undefeated.
They dickheads.
I wanted it.
Yo,
I'm
they
not-
dickheads.
I did not give a
Yeah,
fuck.
me didn't care.
I
No,
didn't
yeah,
care.
we didn't care.
I
Pete
wanted it. I
And
wanted
you know,
it, bro.
yeah,
I can't
and you
lie.
know what it is?
That
These
means
man are-
nothing to me.
These man are dickheads, bro. That's all it is.
We haven't won the league in 30 years. That means nothing to me.
You lot are dickheads.
Why are we dickheads?
Because I'm even saying congratulations, but just because I'm happy you lot.
Don't.
didn't
No,
win.
yeah,
you're
this is a
patronising.
backhanded
How?
type
Put the tone in your voice.
What?
I want you to win the league.
you
Go
know
do
what?
that. Go do that.
I
Go
want
do that. Big
everyone-
man, my
I want-
5-year-old.
I want everyone but Firmino to win the league.
Why?
Because Firmino's a dickhead.
Why is for me? Oh yeah,
I don't like Firmino.
because he batted up
Mo
Torreira.
Salah, Mane, Keita, all my guys. You see Firmino, he can suck his mum. I saw this guy drop. You know what it is? The way he dropped Torreira. And then I went on his Insta that same day. This guy
dressed abysmally,
abysmally, fam, yeah? And his teeth annoy me. His face annoys me. His wife annoys me. His wife, his boyfriend on the side. Like everything
Come on,
about
relax.
him.
Chill.
All right, sorry.
What's going on, world? Welcome to another episode of the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast with your boys Peter,
Yo.
Mohammed,
Cute.
and myself, Yemi.
you laughing at?
And I don't know, because you guys were more monotone than usual. And today we are joined by a very special guest. He is a music writer, culture writer, all-around great human being, friend to the pod. His name is Jesse Bernard. Welcome,
good?
Jesse.
What's going
Yo.
What's going on, guys?
going on, man?
How we doing?
Alive?
Yeah, we're good.
Alive?
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Energy,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Energy. I need the energy.
Yeah. Alive?
Yeah,
Alive?
we're here, man. God is good, innit?
All the time?
All the time, God is good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. How were our weeks this week?
It was a week.
Peter, I want you to tell me about your week this week.
Why? My week was good, man.
How was your week, Peter?
Because I know you had a good week.
What, have you spoken to Yemi?
Wait, am I missing something?
Has he spoken to you, though?
Kinda.
He hasn't,
Alright, cool.
We haven't spoken about that. We haven't
yeah.
spoken about anything.
No, my week's been good, man. Why
You're
Yemi was
shining.
smiling? Why Yemi was smiling? Because we went to Rags Original's EP
Yeah, I saw
release.
that.
Yeah, the
Oh.
launch. And yeah, there was a couple faces there, and
Peter had a taste of the industry.
a little bit, and it was good, man. I had a good time.
Who was there?
Had a good time. Tinchy
Yeah.
was there.
This guy spudded with Tinchy.
Okay.
Tinchy was there. I'm pretty sure Slicks was there. He was in Rough Squad.
Yeah.
Um,
Only you
and
know that.
shut up, man.
Only you know that.
Tiana Major 9 was there as well,
Shout out
Yes.
to Tiana.
which is that's a story in itself.
Story in itself, yes.
I believe that.
She was right next to us holding her friend's stuff while she was taking a picture of her friend. And she seemed a bit annoyed at that. But
Yeah, she
cool.
she looked so appalled. But
Who else you see?
who else we see? Can't remember, bro. It's blurry. But
yeah,
it was a good event.
Where
though,
was
man.
yeah, he shook hands with
I'll tell you
Rags.
it
He
was
shook
good.
hands with Benzi Flow and all them guys.
Yeah,
Okay, is that you? Yeah.
I mean, I was standing next to Yemi, so that man, you know,
this one is Yemi.
kind of
Yeah,
respectful. Yeah, that's the Yemi's guys, man.
Yeah, me.
The way they were hugging, like they've been knowing each other
Hugging?
for time, but yeah, man.
Like young Jojo Swift. Never mind.
We're not about to do this. This is Peter's time to shine in the industry.
Yo, P,
No,
your
I'm
industry
not
like
trying to
this, fam.
shine. man.
You are shining.
When
The
was
light
this,
is
by
on
the
you for a
way?
reason. Huh?
When was this?
Thursday.
For those that don't know, I never got an invite. Just
You
for
didn't because I only had a +1. Because I was only allowed a +1.
Who was it for? Whose show was it?
Rags Original.
Okay.
You don't
So,
even know him.
I
so.
said okay, man, for a reason, fam. Let's move on.
The EP's dope, though. You should
The
listen
EP
to it.
dope?
Yeah, it's dope.
I
It's
believe
fire.
you. I believe
Text
you.
your
listen
ex.
to it.
I'll listen
Text
to
your
it.
ex. Shout out to Rags.
I'll listen to it.
EP is very good.
How was your man's trip?
Oh shit,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
were at
with
Prague as
Prague.
well.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was really, really good. Yeah, man, good vibes. Barely slept. Shotguns. It's dope, man. Very, very good.
Yeah, it was cool, man. We had a good time.
Everyone go Prague. Nice sights, nice views, all that stuff. The old town's really pretty. Yeah, man. Cheap drinks, everything. It's calm.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, man. Your week?
Don't affect me. What?
How
Oh,
was
my
it?
week. It was a week. My life's boring compared to you, man.
You got to find new ways of saying
No,
it.
like generally, like you man's life is entertaining, fam. Yeah, me at an industry party every other week.
That's not true.
Peter's one there once a week.
That's just not true.
Like, yo, you man are different human beings, fam. One guy's spinning Georgia Swift's neck, the other guy's
You still
spinning
doing
Tinchy
this?
Steiner. I don't know who you man are anymore, fam.
I didn't snip her neck.
I don't even know who you man are, fam. Some guy here spotted Tinch's trying to act like he's just, and he knew the other
Yeah, let's
guy.
talk about that. Let's
Yeah,
shine a
fam.
light on that one.
And he
there.
spotted.
Can we make that the running joke of this episode?
And he
Since
spotted.
I was the brand.
Who's the guy from Ross
last
he
time.
spotted?
I didn't even spud Slicks, but he was there.
Yeah, see, he spotted Slicks, fam.
Tinty's tiny though.
Yeah,
I didn't
he's
realize how small he was.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
If Peter's calling him small, he must be small, fam.
Hey,
I'm
relax.
saying, man.
I apologize. I took it too
Relax.
far.
No
You're
need for
right.
that.
I did take it too far, fam.
Jesse, how was your week?
Yeah, man, it was lit. I was in Fez, Morocco
Mm.
for the week. Well, not for the week, but for a few days. So yeah, just got back on Wednesday, and then nice.
Yeah.
Like,
Whereabouts?
Fez.
What's that?
It's in the north.
Okay.
Yeah,
I went
so-
Morocco. Morocco's beautiful.
It's
bro.
beautiful, man. Yeah,
Morocco's
went to the hammam,
beautiful,
like kind of got scrubbed down, everything, got a massage,
Jeez.
Bro.
everything. Yeah, I went all out. Like kind of everyone under the age of 25 offered me hash like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
It's like,
Morocco.
fam, I just bought some from you 5 minutes ago.
Nah,
I don't need to,
Morocco's raggle, bro.
like- yeah, like literally just always offering like.
Haggling must be mad.
Yeah,
Nah, Morocco's beautiful.
yeah,
bro.
it's,
Like,
it's
Morocco-
sick. Like
yeah.
the weather's beautiful as well. Food's good.
Where'd you go? I went Agadir. I went Agadir and went Marrakesh. I didn't go to.
Oh, Fez.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fez is like smaller. It's like kind of.
Into-
Yeah, it's like it's only about 100,000 people in the
Oh,
city.
swear.
Yeah, it's
I
quite
might
a
need to
small
go
city.
there, man, because Agadir was lit.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, man.
Yeah, it was nice, and I'm
Yep.
in Berlin next week, so we move again.
Where you going?
Berlin.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's a heavy rave night.
Oh, for real. How long
Still
you there
raving.
for?
2 nights.
Yeah, what you did this week.
Yeah, you ain't sleeping.
Yeah, I'm not
You
safe
ain't
in this.
sleeping.
I'm
Straight 2
going
nights.
straight from the club to the airport as well. Yeah.
Oh, swear. I just got straight raving, fam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how was your week?
Safe for asking.
I tried, brother.
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, obviously, I was with Peter at the Rags event. Really good. Other than that, pretty much any other week, really. Yeah, man, Jesse, thank you for coming down, man.
thank
Very, very much appreciate it. So, for those that don't know, Jesse is a music and culture writer. He's written for a bunch of different publications, really. Complex. He's the contributing editor for Trench. Written for DJ Booth. He's written for Noisy. Bunch of different publications, man. So,
Been out here.
been out here for a minute, man. So I guess what we want to start is just an intro to you, man. Who are you? What'd you do? How'd you get into hip hop? All that kind of thing.
So yeah, I'm a music writer, like photographer, archivist, you name it. Like I tried so hard to try and figure out like what it is I do, like and trying to sum it into like one word, because there's so many different things that I do, but I guess just music person or whatever is the best way to describe it. Because yeah, like music is the center of everything I do. Whether that's kind of creative writing, like kind of non-fiction, or kind of even photography sometimes, which I need to pick up again. But yeah, I kind of just got into it, just fell into writing. I didn't kind of set out to become a journalist or a music journalist or anything like that when I went to uni. In fact, I didn't even know what I wanted to do when I went to uni. I kind of fell into that as well. And then kind of just started blogging around 2010. I just mostly blogging about kind of UK music and what was happening here. And yeah, like kind of 3 years later, I just thought, let me just start pitching my work out. So I started pitching to like any and everyone. I think Complex were like one of the first people to give me a commission. In fact, yeah, they were the first like kind of publication to give me a commission as well, back in 2014. And then, yeah, 6 years later, nothing is the same.
Big facts.
Yeah. But like in terms of like how I got into hip hop, I grew up with it. Like kind of, it was hard not to kind of grow up with it, like kind of just through my mum's like kind of music taste. She grew up listening to a lot of like 90s R&B, 80s R&B. So obviously hip hop comes a part of that, just through like the kind of closeness of it and all. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Like kind of just followed it like religiously, like obviously older cousins as well, like and siblings like making music and stuff like that. So that just kind of helped me kind of get into that music kind of space.
Was there like a song or a video that stands out to you growing up that you like made you think, yeah, this is hip hop is really it?
You know what? I don't think if there's a video, it's got to be the Busta Rhymes one. Or which one is it? The Hype Williams one.
Put your hands where my eyes can see.
Yeah, that one. I remember just watching that as a kid and not obviously understanding the song or who Busta Rhymes was, but just seeing like all this like kind of outlandish kind of just stuff happening and thought, yeah, that was sick. But in terms of like music itself, my mum used to have this Kiss 97 like compilation CD, which like them ones like back then. It's just like kind of the hip hop version of like now.
Yeah.
So it had everything like kind of "Wishing on a Star" by Jay-Z on there. What else did it have? Like wherever the hits were, 1997. So yeah, like kind of that's another one of those kind of memorable moments. And I mean, before then, you don't really remember a huge amount. I don't remember like Tupac and Biggie and all of that,
Yeah.
like because obviously we're in the UK, so we didn't get that kind of news back then. But yeah, I say kind of Busta Rhymes, "Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See" was like the first like kind of major kind of song that kind of impacted me.
Was Mason that Kiss tape?
Mm?
Yeah.
Why you got to say it like that?
That was epic. I'm just
What?
gonna give you that, fam.
I'm answering the question.
Yeah, he was.
There you go.
He was on it. Yeah.
Peter's
No, I
happy.
love Mace, innit? Because they always, so they like getting
I
on
mean,
to it.
someone needs to.
Hmm?
He said he loves Mason.
Oh
Like,
wow,
someone needs to.
wow! Like Mace is my guy, man.
Bro, thank you,
No,
man.
no, no. We troll him because of Mace. Like his love for Mace is
Bro, Mace was-
stupendous.
Yeah, he
Mace was
just
sick,
it doesn't
quotes
make
Mace
sense.
lines. you know what I'm
Someone
saying?
should not love Mace the
Mace
way
was
he
sick, man.
fucks
Oh,
with
wow.
Mace.
Nah, free bad boy Mace. Like,
Bro, I'm saying.
he had it all.
Bro, Mace was ill, man.
Alright.
Yeah, but we're talking mainly about Bad Boy era, right, Mace? When we're talking to you.
Yeah, but even Bad Boy, he was sick, bro. Even the pop songs, he was sick. Like,
Salute to Mace, innit?
It's a little moist, innit?
I need someone needs to shout him out.
whatever.
So who would you say are like some of your favorite rappers? Jesse, like from US, UK, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
We'll do
at
top
the mo-
5?
Yeah. Okay, so top 5 at the moment: Kano, Benny the Butcher, Freddie Gibbs, Conway, El Camino. That's 5.
Mm.
All time, Jesus, man, that's a hard one.
That's loaded, isn't it?
It's Method Man, definitely up there.
Why?
Flow, sound, style, like kind of. Yeah, he just had like the nice voice. I think for me, like it's always about like kind of how the rapper sounds as well, and how they kind of just carry themselves on a beat or whatever. And Meth always just carries himself just at a high standard, and almost makes it seem effortless, even though that it isn't effortless. Like to do what he does is like takes skill. But yeah, I definitely say he's up there. Method Man, top 5 of all time. Jesus. You know what? Like Kano's definitely still in my top 5 of all time, just because, yeah, just from listening to him since kind of Boys Love Girls up until now, just seeing that development over the years is just like you can't deny the talent like, in all of that. Slick Rick as well.
Okay.
Yeah, storytelling wise, just and that's a bit of a left field one because he's like that's even before my time as well, and he didn't have like kind of a huge window. But just in terms of like kind of the amount of people that he's influenced, like kind of since he came in the game, like kind of Snoop Dogg wouldn't be here if it wasn't for kind of Slick Rick.
A lot of people wouldn't, man.
Nah, yeah, exactly. And then when you kind of step back and think, oh shit, like he's actually done so much for kind of hip hop in that sense. It's hard, man.
Yeah,
it's
it's
hard.
tough,
It's
man.
tough, man. It's
hard.
tough because you're going to
It's-
always leave someone out.
Mhm.
You're always going to leave people out. It's one of them ones.
Five Dog as well.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Five Dog, yeah. Yeah, obviously classic bars, like memorable lines as well. But yeah, again, he had the kind of same kind of. I like him for the same reasons why I like Meth, like kind of just the way he carries himself, the flow, and
Yeah.
the voice, and all of that, like kind of not necessarily the best. Like when you're talking about best bars of all time, you're not really going to put kind of Five Dog and Method Man in the top 5. But in terms of all-rounded
Cadence. And
yeah,
everything.
cadence and all of that, then yeah, definitely.
Definitely a slept on rapper. I've always said that.
Mhm.
Always slept on.
He's
He always
Top
turns
5
up.
so far all slept on. I feel like your top 5, Jesse, top 5. A few of them are slept on.
Yeah.
Rick slept on. 5 slept on. Rev slept on.
You think Slick Rick has slept on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
he
our era, for our generation.
Yeah, but in the overall
I'm not
scope,
overall, no, I'm just like 30s and others, I feel like he slept on.
yeah, our age
Yeah, I feel like he's very slept on.
probably
at our
won't
age.
really appreciate.
Yeah, that's what I'm
it,
saying.
to be honest.
Hip hop heads know Slick Rick, but I'm just
Yeah.
like our generation, I feel like he slept on.
Mhm. And then I guess lastly, it was actually a toss up between Cameron and Mace. I went with Cameron because longevity and all of that. Because with Mace, I'm talking pre-Bad Boy Mace, and there still isn't enough
Yeah.
material there for me to say, oh yeah, he's my top 5. But Cameron, to say yeah. Like, I just remember 2007, 2008, I was in a hard Dipset kind of phase, just going through.
went through that phase,
Yeah,
innit?
went through that phase.
Yeah.
Just bare mixtapes, everything.
Did you rock Pink?
Yeah, for a brief time. Yeah, for a brief time.
I know for a fact Peter did. I can see
Every
it back
Cam fan rocked Pink, bro.
Yeah,
just
man.
appreciate Cam.
I managed to find this this Rockaware polo shirt from TK Maxx. Yeah, that it was white, had a pink like kind of lapels and then a pink R. And I was like, no, I got to buy this. And I felt like the man for that summer. I thought like I was the UK's ambassador for Dipset.
Nah, shout out to
Did you
Cam.
like SAS?
I did, yeah, at the time, I like kind of, really got into SAS because of like kind of Dipset and all of that. And I thought kind of, in terms of like UK road rap, like they were the guys that kind of set the foundation for a
definitely
lot of
started
what's
it.
happening now.
They don't get enough credit for that.
No. I think there is that kind of wave of UK road kind of artists who paved the way for a lot of the trap kind of scene, and then I guess drill now that won't get their shine because people don't look at music in this country like as intergenerational, like particularly when it comes to like to the UK scene or like I guess rap or hip hop or whatever you want to call it. Like no one ever seems to think that drill has been influenced by a previous kind of scene or anything like that. Like these guys didn't just start rapping out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah, and a lot of other genres outside of rap, especially in the UK, are interlinked. Like dancehall has influenced pretty much everything.
Yeah,
Like everything, even outside of rap, like jungle, house, drum and bass, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot more interlinked here. I haven't really explored like SAS and that kind of road rap much, to be honest.
They meant a lot to me. Like, growing up, I loved SAS, man. Mega, like, and Mayhem specifically was everything to me, bruv. His delivery, his voice was just ill to me. And I was a massive Dipset fan too, so that probably pulled me in as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think the man are from Tottenham, though.
SAS?
I think so, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
A few of them
from
are.
North,
A few of them are 100%.
Well,
It's Tottenham, innit? Come on.
it's all happening in Tottenham, isn't it?
I mean, come on, when it comes to UK rap.
We're not doing that again.
Yeah, we're doing it. We don't need to do that again, to be honest.
I mean, Tottenham did produce a lot of like kind of, I guess like a lot of those local legends when it comes to UK rap and like road rap in a sense. And I think that's the thing with road rap, it was quite localized in the sense that, yeah, some artists managed to break out of their areas, but for a lot of like kind of road rappers, they were just kind of remained.
Yeah.
They were like kind of
Like
hood
hood
celebrities.
celebrities.
They stayed hood legends. Yeah, makes sense.
I suppose every side of London has that in some way, I guess, across a lot of genres, really.
I like that top 5 though. It's different. Yeah, that top 5 is very different to you.
I mean, it changes because, like, obviously, depending on my taste at the time. But I'd say Method Man, Phife Dog, and Kano are like the fixed ones. Yeah,
always gonna be there.
I'm happy to hear Meth, though. I don't feel like he gets mentioned enough.
Yeah, no.
His flow is just...
because he's not everyone's favorite in Wu-Tang. Yeah,
and he started off being everyone's favourite in Wu-Tang
Yeah.
as well, which is a bit mad.
He was meant to be the star. He was basically built up to be.
because he was the only one that had a full song on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on the first one, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
He had the whole package, man. But the only thing out of the package he was missing was like making good music. Sorry.
Nice.
His flow is still like,
subtle, but I like that.
everything,
Sorry, man.
though. Why Fife, though? That's a left field one. That's an interesting one. Like, I don't really hear many people... Apart from Yemi. Yemi's the only person I speak to.
I think in the same way that kind of a lot of people, the way that a lot of people flow these days, like Phife kind of set the tone for that. Like there's a particular style in the way that kind of Phife, and I guess by extension Q-Tip flowed, which then set that kind of skippy flow is now what's influencing how a lot of rappers
You think Fife had a skippy flow?
on some songs he did
Alright.
on like Electric Relaxation, I like him around Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You can make a
fine.
case for it.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like that's a certain type of tempo and style, but I guess if you were to put him on a modern beat,
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
he would still sound
Comfortable.
comfortable. He wouldn't feel out of place, and that's what I kind of measure that by. Yeah, I think for me it was the hop off of Beats, Rhymes, and Life. That's my favorite Tribe song of all time.
Oh, swear.
Yeah, like just the production on that and the sample and everything. And I think Five's verse on that is top 5. Totally his underrated one. I don't know why it doesn't get enough love.
I don't think Five gets enough love, just generally. Do you think it's got anything to do with how great Q-Tip is? Being in a group, it's similar to the Andre 3000 syndrome, isn't it?
I think it's that, but I also think he gets shrouded under the legacy of the group. So when you're talking about Tribe, you're definitely more so talking about Q-Tip, and he kind of gets shunted to the side a bit, which, you know, for better or worse, is like kind of criminal when you think about it. But there's definitely a lot of things working against him, but he always delivered. Like, always delivered.
Yeah. And I think because A Tribe Called Quest, like, and the whole native tongues kind of movement, essentially kind of saw themselves as a collective movement, not individualistic. That there was never like a lead rapper or the guy kind of putting their face on everything. So whenever they did everything, it was always as a crew. Yeah. So they didn't. So there's never that sense that Fife was bigger than the group or Q-Tip was bigger than the group. Obviously, they had their internal issues or whatever, but that's why there was never a real star with them. Like, I mean, the Wu-Tang thing is almost different just because the way that they were structured and the way that RZA fucked them all over.
Oh, man, royally.
He's a top dictator, bro.
Yeah, he is.
He's a dictator, bro. He is a dictator, bro.
Moving like Idi Amin.
This guy's
Gaddafi,
all of them. Yeah, he's Gaddafi, fam.
Yeah,
Moving like Jim Jones, bro. Not the Dipset one either.
That's the original capo. That's the original capo.
Showing your age there.
I know, I haven't it.
For real.
Nah, I follow with that top 5, man. I like it.
Man. You have a UK top 5?
UK top 5?
Yeah.
Obviously, the New and Three Kings, DW Gets, Kano, Kalashnikov, and then fifth. You know what? I don't even know the 5th one at the moment. I'm not even going to say Gigs because that's too obvious.
I thought you were going to say Gigs, to be honest.
No, I wasn't. Nah. And you know what? Like, as much as I rate Gigs, he's not someone that I always enjoy listening to.
Is that more so nowadays though? Because I've got an argument about Gigs more recently that I feel as though the last like 2-3 years, no one wants to say it, but lyrically he's not rapping nowhere near what he used to.
Yeah, he definitely has.
Bruv, he's like his lyrics are like low key nonsense.
He's become a character. What's the word I'm looking for? Caricature of himself.
Nonsense.
If that makes sense. Like,
Nonsense.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not saying much these days.
After Landlord, like I kind of
Nah,
he riddles a lot.
He's giving you
like-
what he's giving you, like what he thinks everyone wants. If you get what I mean. Like from
gang shit.
He don't sound the same.
No, he don't sound the same.
Definitely don't sound
He's
the
not
same.
as hungry anymore because he doesn't need to be. He's successful now. And I guess a byproduct of that sometimes when you're coasting is, you know, the lyrical content seems to falter. I will give it to Gigs though. Like he's trying new flows, he's hopping with different artists and stuff. So I guess maybe he's concentrating more on that aspect of his game rather than the actual lyrical content. Because more time he's hopping on like not poppy stuff, but more accessible stuff. So it doesn't really matter.
I'm glad you said Kalashnikov though.
Yeah.
No one says his name enough. So it's nice to hear that.
He's a favourite.
Yeah.
What was he like when you interviewed him?
He was just like mad open, just really like just open, honest, kind of highly emotive as well. Obviously, kind of losing his mum, and that's what the album was about. So for him, is a kind of weird way for him to come back to music because it's not necessarily just him wanting to make music. He's coming back to music because this event has happened. So talking to him about that and getting more insight as to, I guess, how he came up and what it was like coming up in, like, I guess, UK hip hop back then, even though he was UK hip hop, but he was also kind of in and around like a lot of the grime MCs as well. And he didn't really like the kind of hip hop back then because he thought it was a boys' club. I mean, and you can see that, like, kind of just in the way that kind of the artists carry themselves.
UK wise.
Yeah, UK wise, yeah. And well, not just the artists, but also the fans. And when you go to a UK hip hop show, you do feel like it's not as open as they say that they are. Like, there's always a particular type of crowd at a UK hip hop show. Whereas you go to any other kind of, if you go to a grime night, you'll see any kind of person there. Whereas UK hip hop is more so like
People like Snips.
Yo, I like Snips, man. Don't do that.
Or like a grungy grungy guy, like
a dickhead, bro.
kind
Why
of
do you like
from
that?
Camden or like something like that. That just wears like 3/4 lengths all year round. Like, those are the people that you see at UK hip hop shows.
I said John Cena.
Don't wash their legs.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. UK wise, I mean, I always find top fives hard because I can never kind of look at the music that I know and love like that, which is why I found the Kano top 5 thing with Julie Adenuga so different.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
But even that for songs is a lot more hard. It's a lot harder. Like for rappers, it might be easy for some people, but for songs, it's like
Especially when you've got a catalogue that goes.
Yeah,
songs like
Top
that.
5 Kano songs is impossible. I don't know if you can do it. Because you lot waited a long time to mention Layer Cake.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it might have been you. I mean, you might have mentioned it or it might have
No,
been
it
Barney.
was Barney. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, huh? So
I mean,
it's hard.
That's the thing. Like, and then I went back to listen to Layer Cake afterwards, and I was like, actually, yeah, no, I remember why I love this song
Yeah.
so much. And yeah, that could be made the case for top 5 as well. But there's so many songs that
You can never do a top 5.
that you can make a case for being Kano's top 5. Like, you can make a case for P's and Q's not being in there because, fair enough, it's his biggest song, and because it's his biggest song, that's almost the easiest.
song to say.
and that's what I
Song,
think.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I
that's
don't
what
think it's
like.
in there because it's his biggest song. I think it's the quality of it, man. I don't know if Kano's amazing to me. He's flawless to me. P's and Q's is like, I don't know how many songs he has made that's better than P's and Q's.
But I don't know if you can have one without the other as far as it being one of his best songs and it being his biggest song. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have to have his biggest song in there?
Do you have to?
Yeah.
I don't think
Just for any artist.
no,
not
No
for
way.
top 5.
No way.
I don't think so because that is almost like, well, that's default.
Yeah,
Everyone
you
knows.
don't have to
Yeah.
have the biggest commercial song.
Yeah.
Because they're some artists, their biggest commercial song ain't the best song 9 times out of 10 anyway.
Yeah. Is that his biggest song then? Is that on record?
P's and Q's?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay,
That's the one song that never leaves the set.
Okay.
That song,
the
yeah,
live
that
set,
song,
yeah.
that song will never die.
Brown Eyes is definitely leaving the set. And like,
I really like that song.
Song
I
with
know
Craig
you
David-
did.
I like it.
the song with Craig David's definitely leaving the set as well.
what is the girl?
This is the
Yeah,
girl. Yeah, when that album came out, I loved it, man.
Yo, this what you like that song? This is
Yeah, I loved it.
I thought
I
that
listened
song.
back to the album and it's a good album. And
Yeah,
then,
London
and
Town
then there's
is-
that song.
Yeah.
You know what
You know what
I'm
I'm
saying?
saying?
Over and Over is an amazing song too.
Oh yeah.
Over and over is dope.
Yeah.
Big facts.
The product as well.
Yeah.
You're trying to break down.
I felt for you though, man. You're getting killed on social.
I'm
for that,
telling
for
you,
the-
man.
for the-
I
for
saw
the
some of
P's and
that as
Q's.
well,
I was
man.
with
But
you,
you
man.
stood your ground though. I
I
liked
was
it,
like,
man.
I had to. It's like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like it's. I mean, I can't come and die over a music.
It's opinions based, man. Like,
Yeah.
people catch
I
feelings over-
disagreed with you, but I like the way you stood
Yeah.
your
But
ground.
it's opinions
You know what I'm
based,
saying?
isn't it? Like
Yeah,
you're
innit?
never gonna agree with someone 100 times out of 100. Like you got your own opinion for a reason.
It made the final 5 though, didn't it?
yeah.
There you go. So,
Yeah, like,
it's good to have different opinions though as well. 'Cause
Yeah, no, that's what I like.
Can't go mad
That's what
Otherwise,
Single X-
it would have been over in 10, 15 minutes.
yeah, if everyone
Yeah.
agrees, then it's just like you can't win either way.
Yeah.
You can't win if everyone agrees. You can't win if you're that guy that doesn't agree. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's double-edged sword.
Yeah, man.
Do you know if he saw it?
Yeah, you seen it.
What did he think?
I think he was just more not annoyed or upset or anything, but he just would have liked to see more of his more recent songs in there.
Yeah,
In
I think,
conversation.
and I can kind of get it. So,
Now that fully makes sense.
so like if you're someone who's been making music for 15, 20 years and the only songs that are in anyone's top 5 are the ones that you made
Yeah.
15, 16 years ago.
You're gonna
and
feel
then,
some
like,
type
you
of
feel
way.
like, oh shit,
Yeah.
do people not like my music now?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even that. For me, it's just on that day, I've been going back to the older stuff. So I hadn't really kind of been sitting with Maiden and Manor as much. In fact, Maiden and Manor, I don't go back to as much as I should, which is a shame because there's some songs
That's
on
a
there
great
which
album,
are,
man.
yeah, no, there are. They're, like, a lot of those songs could easily make top 5.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Like I'd say more songs off of Maiden and Manor than
The latest one.
Hood Is All Summer.
Really?
Yeah. Although saying that, any song off. It's hard.
Teardrops.
That's the thing. Teardrops,
Trouble.
Trouble, Good Youths, Walk Amongst Evil.
Yeah. 3 years later, the first song.
3 years later, even Deja, Class
Yeah,
Deja,
yeah,
all
yeah.
of them.
I get it. I get his concern, but it also speaks to like the enduring quality of his music. Like he's always gonna have classics, but they're gonna be modern classics, but they're also gonna be classics that he made when he first came out as
Yeah.
well. So if anything, it's more of a. I know he didn't take it in a certain way, but it's more so a celebration of like what he has
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
Because there was like a whole tapestry of all of his music from across his albums, across his tapes, and that. So I think he was well presented, but the top 5 itself may have come out a little bit like, okay,
Yeah.
it's skewing towards the old stuff, which is natural.
Because I think like if you can say that any of your older songs have aged well enough that people still have it in the top 5. That's a blessing.
That's a big deal.
That a lot of
I can see both
artists
sides of
don't-
it though. I can
don't
also see
have.
that. I can see both sides. I can see the blessing that you made classics so long ago. But also, if I made recent songs, like, at least
It's kind of like,
it's like,
yeah.
is it not as good if people not fucking with it? It plays with your mind, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see both sides of it, but
As a Kano fan, I like how no one mentions Method to the Madness.
But this is you know what?
No one talks about that album.
But you know what? I actually like kind of. So my reaction to Method when Barney brought up Method in the Madness was funny because I was literally like, there's maybe 2 songs on that could possibly be in the conversation for making Kano's top 5. I don't think. I like the album at the time.
I didn't like it, man.
I don't think it's aged well because a lot of the songs sound like 2010. Like, you know, that kind of weird pop dubsteppy
yeah,
kind of sound that they're
bullshit.
trying to do. Like, there's that one song, Spaceship, on there, which I'm just like, I don't want to hear that ever again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for what it was and for what he was trying to do as an MC, there aren't many MCs that were doing what Kano was doing. And yeah, like you have to take your hats off to him, even for that album. Because I don't know anyone else that would make an album like.
He takes risks. It might not always work out.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is the girl, you know. Very much of its time.
I don't think that was a risk.
No, it wasn't a risk as much, but I mean,
trash.
but it was trash. So in a sense, it was because it was a little bit more electro-y than anything he had done previously. I think, anyway. So in a sense, it may have been.
Rock and Roller was probably the worst, the only mistake I think he's made musically.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because like that one was just completely left of
Left field,
what he normally does and what he was trying to do. Like I don't even know what he was doing with that one.
You're trying to rock and roll, bro. Trying to rock and roll us.
Salute to Kano though, man.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, Jesse's here. You're a journalist. I myself am a journalist as well. So I guess I wanted to spend a bit of time. Shut up. I wanted to spend a little bit of time. Sorry, Mohammed, what did you study in uni?
Exactly. Cool. Also,
I'm
Shut
the only
up.
one here that's not a journalist, essentially.
what you say?
I'm the only one here that's not a journalist.
I'm not a journalist either. Just
I mean, but you studied it.
What
So
does that mean?
you've got it in you.
He's not.
I went from my mum.
But anyway, I guess I wanted to take some time to just talk about like the importance of journalism in hip hop because obviously we hip hop fans, journalism is kind of like a medium for the opinions of hip hop fans, hip hop commentators to really like shoot the shit essentially about what makes the culture tick. And we've seen magazines like The Source, Double XL, you know, a bunch of others that have gained a lot of notoriety and stuff and have innovated in the genre as well with stuff like the Freshman List, the 5 Mics and stuff like that. So I guess I just wanted to get into how important journalism is for hip hop generally.
I think it's very important. I think journalism contextualizes the space in which hip hop sits in and the world in which it comes from, and it helps people to make sense of the world in which hip hop comes from and what that means. I think over the years, the idea of hip hop journalism, what it is and what it should be, haven't met along the way. I think when it starts to become like I guess gossip based and like kind of all this kind of industry insight stuff, like kind of knowing the ins and outs between the Pusha T and Drake kind of beef and all of that, whilst all that's entertaining, I don't feel that is necessarily journalism in itself. That's just getting the scoop. Like TMZ can do that and all of that. But in terms of getting to the heart of the story, getting to the heart of kind of how someone like Pusha T can go from being a drug dealer to even becoming like president of good music, that is like kind of for me what I've always been interested in. And I still think there's a lot of room for that in hip hop. I think more so than ever, as the landscape is shifting like every day. And it's important to look at, okay, so since a lot of this is happening online and virtually, what do these cultures now look like that hip hop is coming from? Because hip hop isn't just this one singular thing from New York now. You've got hip hop coming from Chattanooga, from Toronto, from LA, from Atlanta, from the Midwest, all of these different regions, and then it's kind of gone global as well. So then you've got kind of UK rap, then you've got UK hip hop, then you've got drill, all these different things. And I think journalism helps kind of sort through all of that and kind of give us a better understanding as to, because at the end of the day, hip hop is an extension of black culture and black popular culture and black cool or whatever that is, and essentially that is an extension of the black experience. So hip hop is essentially a telling of and a performance of that black experience. So if you don't have people who understand that black experience, you don't necessarily have to have lived it, but to have a deep enough understanding where you can then translate that experience to a wider audience so that they can then contextualize that and see how that then applies to their lives. And that's how hip hop journalism stays alive. And that's why I still see the value in it.
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like these days, like you said, like there is this kind of like tendency nowadays for publications to report on what so and so is doing rather than the actual journey. That might be getting a little bit lost, especially during the days of like when all we had in a pre-internet era was what journalism was telling us about these artists. Because the internet has kind of like muddied the waters in a sense. Like there is now a shift to wanting to know more about what the artists are doing on a day-to-day, who they're dating and stuff like that, rather than like what they're bringing to the culture. So I think journalists like yourself and others are like very important in like telling the stories that then go to people so that they can understand artists a little bit more and what they're doing with their art rather than anything else. So yeah, I agree. I think journalism is definitely like still very much important. It may have taken on a new forms throughout the years. Because even like people like Joe Budden and Charlemagne and stuff like that, they're seen as journalists as well. So I guess like the actual role of the journalist and who they can actually be and what they can comment on has changed as well. What do you think have been like some of the biggest changes as far as hip hop journalism goes in the past like decade or so?
I think like social media and the internet has definitely impacted. I guess the role of hip hop journalism, just in what it looks like and what it is. So obviously, kind of post 2008, you had kind of this blog era where you had kind of Two Dope Boys, all of these various kind of like mixtape madness. Whether it's here or the US, you had all these blogs that just catered to churning out mixtapes, and anyone could write about it as well. And it was kind of, these sites were kind of for everyone. Now it's become, I don't know, it's a weird one. I think hip hop journalism's changed in the sense that you're now not getting to see an artist on the come up. It's either like they've got to blow instantly for them to even get some shine or even get just a look in from a publication, or they just got to be this rare, unique talent that everyone just seems to fawn over at once. Like, for example, like Lil Uzi Vert. Everyone, like, there's always this period where suddenly all eyes are on this one artist. Like last year was Megan Thee Stallion. Like kind of the year before that, I don't even know who it was, but like it's either Lil Uzi Vert, then it's 21 Savage, and then it just moves on. It's very cyclical in that sense. And I think what's changed is that we're not seeing enough like kind of people just, I guess, developing as artists, and that's then affecting the journalism, because then we're then expecting almost instant success from the artists. Why aren't they achieving certain things or at a certain level? And you see it in the writing as well.
Yeah.
But can journalism help with that in a sense where maybe an artist isn't necessarily getting, a crazy level of buzz, but I don't know, a particular publication might see a potential in somebody that's just quietly making music in the underground. Can they help with that?
They can. I think the issue with journalism is that there hasn't been a balance between the underground, catering to the underground and catering to the mainstream. So you could read a Source or Vibe magazine 10, 15, 20 years ago and read a decent article on some unknown artist from God knows where, just because they had a really interesting story. Whereas, because obviously a lot of things have shifted to online, print's dying or was dying. I don't even know if it's dying anymore, because people seem to be making more and more print magazines by the day these days. But
It's a trend.
Huh?
It's definitely a trend.
Yeah, it is a trend. I don't know if it's if it's actually working, if it's a
I
sustainable.
don't think so.
trend.
I don't think so either. I don't think
Yeah.
that's another topic.
But yeah, like I think so. Like a lot of online journalism shifted to kind of just obviously they got to attract clicks and get the most clicks. So and you're not going to get clicks off of some unknown artist from the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But if it's someone that's already got a certain amount of kind of clout or whatever, then they're more likely to get that kind of push. So I think for me, it makes my job more difficult because I've always been about wanting to write about unsung artists, those that don't get their flowers and should get their flowers, but it's becoming even more difficult these days when editors have only got so much budget and their readers don't know who this person is, and that's the difficulty I find in my job.
Yeah, the demands have changed, and these days everyone's out to increase their profile. So they're gonna publications are gonna report on the people that are gonna do that. So that's why you'll see 3 Meg Thee Stallion articles a day rather than maybe 1 or 2 on who's hot in like Northwest London or whatever. It's that need to be in the know as far as the mainstream is concerned. But you also have like expectations from upstairs. Some publications, you need this amount of clicks, you need this amount of attention for me to release money for you to be able to survive. So the shift has definitely hasn't benefited like up and coming people like it had like in the 90s and the 80s and even in the early 2000s. Like we forget like people like Biggie, Common, they were like unsigned hype on the Source magazine. We don't really have. I mean, the freshman list is cool, but even those people need to have some kind of attention.
They already
and some
have
kind of clout.
a name by the time they're on that list. Like 9 times out of 10, they already got a buzz. But how tricky is it to keep what you guys want to write about versus what they want you to write about, if you get what I mean? Like clearly you've got a lane where you guys want to write about something, and unfortunately you've got whoever you guys write for, you know what they already want. So how hard is it to keep that balance between what you guys want and kind of meeting their needs as well? Do you know what I mean?
It's a compromise. Like, to be honest, yeah, it is a compromise. Sometimes you do end up doing an interview with an artist that you probably normally wouldn't listen to, just because it's also beneficial for your career as well.
Yeah.
Like to do an interview or profile on a popular rapper because, I mean, I did Lil Yachty like a couple of years ago. I don't listen to his music, but I knew that it's a cover story that'd look good, like kind of going down the line. What I've noticed, and I think I started to see it like kind of like among our generation, but more so with like kind of younger writers, is that whereas before, like I remember reading like kind of like the Source of Vibe, and you'd know who the writers were, and they kind of be these big kind of names and stuff, but the story was never about them, or they never put themselves in the story, or kind of, I don't know. It's like I feel like now, like even becoming a like kind of hip hop journalist or hip hop writer that gets to sit down with, I know, Migos or Tyler the Creator or something like that, that becomes a big thing in itself for the writer, where the writer themselves becomes a celebrity. It's like the life of a writer is not exciting or sexy or anything like that. I don't know why. like anyone selling the dream as though it is. Like anytime anyone tweets, "Oh yeah, I just spent a week with Tyler and all of that," like he linked up with you twice and all of that. It's like
also he will never remember you.
Spent the whole week with Tyler just chilling.
And I think because we've shifted to this kind of place where it's all about making a brand for yourself, making a name for yourself. No matter what you do, you gotta have a brand. You gotta have your brand and your online presence. And hip hop journalism has now given the writers a chance to become celebs themselves and to become the kind of cream of the crop who can rise to the top and get those kind of cover stories and those big features and all of that, which, I mean, is all well and good, but
the quality sometimes dips.
Yeah. Very rarely do I read a very, very outstanding piece on a long read. Like I'm talking like 4,000 words on a rapper. Mostly because, I mean, the people writing about them don't know like fuck all about where they're from, what they do, how
I think
they
that's
do
evident as well when you read some. When you read some, you could tell that it's just They write for the sake of writing, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, like they'll kind of dress it up in all this like kind of nice storytelling that makes it a good read in terms of language wise, but in terms of actually trying to getting to understand who this person is outside of the music, you're not really getting much bar of what you already know.
Yeah.
You haven't really taught me that.
Yeah, and yeah, it's very hard to get. I don't know whether that's media training or the artists themselves. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of rappers these days that aren't as entertaining to talk to.
Rappers generally aren't.
No, not compared to back in the day. Like I read some of those interviews from back in the day, and those guys look entertaining as fun, like as hell, like just being in a room with them. Whereas now,
I think now it's more image, though, isn't it? I feel like a lot care about their image now more than than back in the day, like the way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them don't bring anything to the interview when they're talking. I'm just like,
At all.
What, fam? Why did you tell me that? I'm asking, I'm asking you something like really interesting. This is your one time to tell me something like about yourself, to tell the world something cool, and you're like, oh yeah, man, I just I just got this inspiration from I don't know, like I just saw this Instagram post and I was like, okay, cool, but okay, if that's the truth, that's cool, but you could just sit
A bit more.
Just
innit?
dress it up,
something,
like,
maybe
maybe
something,
make it.
Is it
sexy.
an
know
age
what it
thing
is.
though? Are these young artists? That
No, it's
yours-
not an age. It's not an age thing because like Nas was only how old when he dropped Illmatic, and he was doing interviews and all of that. And those interviews were entertaining back in the day. Like,
I just think it's a
Wu-Tang
different
were
time.
Yeah,
Man.
it's,
It's just a different time, different era.
I suppose more time, those guys were more interested in showing people who they were and what they represented rather than now. I think nowadays people, like Mo said, are very image based. They're trying to get a certain picture of themselves out. And more time, some of these rappers are absolute shit interviews. Like they will not give you anything. Like they'll give you 1-word answers, 2-word answers, and they'll completely fly away from the question as well. Like
Is media training a thing as well then? Because it seems as though nowadays there's not as much, whereas back in the day there was.
it should be a thing.
definitely should be a thing.
Maybe that's also kind of impacting the quality of the interviews. That you
No, yeah,
guys
I
may
mean,
get.
like, I imagine like if you got a budget and you're paying your PR a certain amount of money for all of these services that they're offering you, media training is the last thing you're probably thinking of, because also you're thinking, what do I need to be media trained for? Like they take me for who I am, they'll like me for who I am. It's like, fam, like I just read the Burna Boy GQ interview, and it's like, again,
I saw a bit of that.
like he squandered an opportunity to open up to an.
Burner's not a good interviewee though,
He's not. He's
No,
not.
Bernard's he's not.
He's not good.
He's not a good
Talker.
person.
at all.
And that's fine, but like also like, you're not a good interview, but at the same time, like when someone's asking you a simple question, just answer the question. Don't be a dickhead about it. Like
You saw the land bit.
yeah. So it's like
I kind of got the answer though.
No, everyone's been praising him for
I
that.
kind
But
of no, but when I read the actual full track, he just didn't want to answer. They could have asked him.
He could have
anything.
done that a different way though.
Yeah, they could have asked.
the only people criticising him are journalists. I see a lot of journalists
No,
kind
he
of
could have
getting
done
onto
it. He could-
how he carried himself within that interview,
Don't
which I
think-
understand.
Man. He could have done that a different way at all.
yeah, because it's more in the sense, okay, if you're not feeling the interview, if you're not feeling the framing of the questions or whatever, stop the interview, get your PR to sort something out to change it. But if you're sat in an interview, answer the questions. Don't be a dickhead. Like you're just wasting everyone's time. And I'm not calling them a dickhead, but I'm just saying like how they answer it depends on how they're going to be received. So if they give me a crap answer, or they're coming off as obnoxious, well, then that's how they're going to look to the world.
Yeah.
So that's their one opportunity to show the world that actually they're not what people think of them. And people already think Burner's this and that anyway.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. This interview didn't do anything to help shore that up. And it's not only just an interview in a pitchfork online where only a certain amount of people are going to read it. This is GQ.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So a lot of the people reading GQ don't listen to Burna Boy's music. So not only has he lost out on a potential audience, which maybe or not would have listened to his music anyway, but GQ readers are a particular type of way anyway.
Yeah.
So they're going to read that from an African like kind of musician and think, oh, he's kind of full of himself. He needs to bring himself down a peg or two. Like imagine like all those football pundits reading that thinking like this guy needs to be brought down a peg or two.
Graham Souness.
They should have somehow made more popular.
But then to argue that, to counter that, Burner might feel like he doesn't even, because he's so popular right now, he might not need none of these publications.
So why agree to do it?
Then don't turn up. That's
true.
Don't turn
yeah.
up. Why don't turn up?
don't
to
turn
things?
up.
Like,
Don't do the interview.
He clearly saw a benefit in doing it, and he acted like a dickhead. To be honest,
Correct.
I mean, look. We know he's a bad interview, but at the end of the day, stop doing interviews. Then, if you know you're not going to give much, like it's a waste of everybody's time. I can tell you countless interviews where they just have not been a good interview.
How much is on the journalists, though?
How much is it on the journalist?
Like, how much is on a journalist if they can't get? I know it's on the artist. It's hard to explain what I mean. Like, it's on the artist to answer questions as well. But how is it? How much is on the journalist if they can't?
I mean,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're trying to say.
To ask the right questions.
We also,
to get something out of them.
we also understand like this is our first time with them. We're only being with them for maybe like an hour tops. We gotta base it on their mood. So if they are asking if I'm gonna ask them a question and they only give me a one word answer, I might probe the second time. And if they're still unresponsive, you gotta move on. You just gotta judge it based on their mood.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but it's not like we can say, all right, could you please like give me more? Because
You just gotta
like,
keep
you're moving
pushing.
mad right
we're
now.
not
Exactly.
we're not facilitators in the sense that how we bring ourselves and what energy we bring into the room dictates how the conversation will go. Like that's not our role. Like, our role is to write it as we see it. Essentially, you could argue that the best journalists in the world or whatever are the ones that can get the artist to feel comfortable and relaxed and all of that, which is all well and good. But in this day and age, when you're given a half an hour, 20-minute window to
gotta
interview,
kind of
and
try.
and you're one of 15 on a certain day,
Yeah.
then that becomes an issue in itself. And that's why I don't really like being part of the kind of the press cycle like that, because then I know that the interview's not going to be that great. If the conversation is great, then that's lucky, because they've already been talking about the same things all day. So the fact that they've even been able to tell me or give me an answer very differently to what they've just said to the previous guy, that means, okay, cool. That's a good interview.
Yeah.
I judge a good interview by the fact that I was able to just keep them talking, to be honest.
Oh, for real.
Your interview with Raphael Sadiq was good.
Oh, yeah,
Because
thank you.
I'm a big fan of his. I watched his press run, so I feel like I got quite a lot from the interview you did with him.
And that was a difficult one because I was over the phone.
Oh, swear?
Yeah, and I did that in Brixton Library. So I didn't have anywhere to do it, and I was like, oh shit, I need to do this interview. And I was like, fuck, where do I go? Ritzy's too loud.
It's another highlight of being a freelance
Yeah, I
writer.
was like, you got to like finding somewhere to do an interview like when you're out and about is difficult.
Is there a difference between the UK journalist and an American journalist? Just the way we operate compared to how over there? And if so, what do you think kind of the difference is?
I never really thought about it, to be honest.
You're welcome.
I mean, from a black music perspective,
Yeah.
okay, so whilst the source, vibe, and all of that, some of them were set up like kind of by white men and complex as well. There's I don't know, it's weird. Even with hip hop journalism, there's a real culture around it and there's like a legacy behind hip hop journalism in America. Like, there's just a certain way that things are done, and there's a high standard, that's expected when you're writing about hip hop in America. Whereas here, and you can say that this is a structural kind of issue or whatever, and probably say institutional, but because there hasn't really been a space for black music to be documented like that in the UK in mainstream journalism, like it's kind of been left falling by the wayside, and everyone else that's come in like in the past couple of years, past 5-6 years, essentially had to correct a lot of the mistakes that were made previously. So like between 2000 and 2010, when you had like all these white kind of journalists writing about grime, bearing in mind that none of these people came from the environments in which they're writing about. A lot of them didn't come from London. So they're then writing about this scene that is very London-centric. You've got to have lived a certain experience. And at the time, remember, the popular music in the UK is indie. It's bands like The Killers and The Fray and Kasabian and all of them. So like all those journalists now that are jumping on grime now, remember they weren't listening to it back then.
Yeah.
So And for black music in this country, it's quite finite in the sense that it's been popular, but it hasn't always been as popular as, say, hip hop or R&B has, or gospel or whatever in the US. Like reggae and dancehall are the biggest kind of sounds to come out of Black Britain or whatever, and they've always been underground. So a lot of the journalism has been forced underground as well. And I say that's a big difference because there's a real kind of infrastructure around hip hop journalism in the US, where it once was underground, and a lot of those magazines were created because they're not going to get in like the GQs and all of that. Whereas now, like we have Trench and Grime Daily and Link Up and SBTV and Rewind because there was that kind of lack of entry into mainstream journalism. But again, it's that whole British sentiment towards just the other and how it treats the other. And you see it playing out at every level, and you see it playing out in journalism and kind of how they, even when it comes
Even
to
now?
even now, even when it comes to pitching an artist to an editor, like it's weird. I feel like, and I don't know if like Yemi feels the same, but I feel like when I'm pitching a story to an editor here, I've got to explain what this thing is before I even get to pitch what the story is. Because I'm not 100% sure that the person I'm talking to even gets this element of the culture that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I then got to do my ABCs before I even then got to explain what the pitch is. Whereas I don't have to do that with a US editor. I find it harder pitching to US editors about like hip hop stuff because I know that I have to be on job. Because I know that they're going to start asking questions and coming back and probing me, making sure, but have you considered this and is this right? Here, editors don't know anything about.
So they should just give you free.
So they give you free reign to write, which is why so many mistakes are made because there's no fact checking, there's no due diligence done in journalism here when it comes to black music.
What about when you did the piece for OK Player?
Okay,
The grind player, yeah, the grind piece.
Yeah, so the grind one. So for me, that one, I literally was researching for months because I knew that their editors weren't gonna research as much as I would have done for that, and also because I knew that they're gonna be UK heads like reading it. I had to make sure my shit was on point because I was even scared to repost it because I just thought, oh shit, what if they come for my neck because I just got one date,
one. They will.
one
They
date
definitely will.
wrong or something like that. And to be fair, like I completely understand it when everyone comes for a writer's neck when they got a little detail wrong because, okay, to the writer it's nothing, it's just a minor detail, but to us that's everything. Like that's a major you can't mistake a reload for some
A restart.
a technical restart, some shit like that. Like that. Do you know how offensive that is?
for real.
Like when you actually step back and think about that, like that is a major important aspect of dancehall culture.
But stuff like that will show you the gulf in cultures.
Yeah.
That will show you that someone is literally a novice who knows nothing about anything, trying to come into a culture and try make sense out of it. It's it's becoming more and more obvious nowadays with social media, with like these people's profiles being up in the air like that. Like it's very, very obvious that some men are not built for this, which is where publications like Trench come in. Like, and I want to talk a little bit about Trench as well because Trench is doing a lot to kind of like tell the stories of black music in Britain that haven't been told.
I've noticed that too, and I actually really appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's definitely bore out of a need to kind of prevent the restarts, those kind of predicaments as well. Like Jesse, as a contributing editor for Trench, how have you found the whole experience?
I think writing for Trench personally has made me more appreciative of what we do have, and has made me want to celebrate what isn't already being celebrated. Like as you've said, like I think without Trench, I would have been still shooting in the dark, just trying to figure out what type of writer I wanted to be. But Trench has now kind of answered that for me in the sense that there's so much here that hasn't been documented in the right way or properly or not enough that there's still so much work to be done here. I can't be worrying about what's happening elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because there's even right now, because there's still so much from 30 years ago that needs to be covered and stuff like that. So in a sense, I kind of feel relieved that kind of Trench is about, because now I feel that I don't have to worry about trying to make a name for myself, trying to interview the most popping artists and trying to write about the most popping things now. Like a lot of what goes up on Trench really kind of probably doesn't get as many clicks as it should do because it's not relevant enough for a lot of audiences. But in terms of like the longevity of Trench, like Trench will be here when a lot of these other publications won't be here.
Word.
People are like, I hear people talking about Trench as though like it's only been around since 2017, and they're talking about it as though it's been here for decades in the positive way that they're talking about it. And that's like warming to me, even though like we're just contributing editors. But it's weird to have a platform like that here because we've never really had a platform like that.
Yeah.
Like GRM, SBTV, and Link Up, yeah, kind of, but they don't facilitate editorial kind of content like kind of other websites.
Nor do they focus so much on every aspect of this music scene over the years as well.
No, we haven't really had like, I mean, like one thought, like we haven't had a vibe or a source.
That's it.
Rewind and all of that. Okay, you can make a case for the magazines that kind of shuttered back in the day, but even then, like that was a different time. I'm talking about now, the ones that are still in existence, and I feel like Trench has filled the gap that was previously unfilled.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, long live Trench.
Yeah, well, definitely. I feel like Trench is kind of like a throwback to like when, not necessarily integrity, but it was like the focus of your journalistic ambitions was like very pure, and as far as the quality goes, it wasn't based on trying to get clicks. It wasn't trying to get like certain attention just so like your portfolio was increased. Like it very much focuses on and benefits from the culture that it's in, and it's reflected in the writing. It's reflected in the subject matter. Where do you see like hip hop journalism going as far as like any kind of like generational shifts you see happening, and then anything you've seen recently that you think might, you know, take journalism to another place or the same place in the next couple of years? Like, what do you see for it?
Interesting. I mean, I definitely see that there's going to be, I feel like the writing's still going to have value. I think that's definitely still got a lot of value. I think people just still want to read good,
Naturally.
like kind of interviews on artists or whatever. I think it's going to become a lot more balanced, a lot more fair. We're starting to see that like hip hop has been generational now, intergenerational for like a couple of decades now. But we're going to start to see that the writing itself is becoming intergenerational in the sense that if you want to read about something that happened 40 years ago, there's a space for that. But if you want to read about what's happening now, there's space for that as well. And I think that's what is great about hip hop journalism now, is that because it's so big and it's so broad, you can have a website that's just dedicated to the 80s only. You can have a website that's just dedicated to sampling and production only. You can have a website that's dedicated to just unsung hype because there's just so much of it, and it's so expansive. I'd like to see that happening in the UK eventually. I'd like to see sites that I mean there are kind of, but I'd like to see sites that are just dedicated to jazz only, to sites that are dedicated to garage and jungle and dubstep and all of that. Like, because then that's only good for this. That's only good for the overall scene. And then I guess going back to like Trench, like it feels like kind of how I'm writing for Trench now feels like how blogging used to feel back in the day, where you're just writing for the love of it. That's what Trench feels like, and that's where I'd like to see kind of journalism go back to, where you are writing for the love of it and not just writing because you need to pay your rent at the end of the month. So you're just chasing whatever byline or kind of topical thing that's happened recently. And I guess the biggest thing now is Megan trying to get out of her contract, and people having, and I think that's the other issue with journalism, is that, and and I don't know if you've noticed it, it's because so many of these moments are happening in real time. We're almost being expected to have a response to these moments
immediately.
100%.
When think about it, 20 years ago, like a lot of these moments were happening all the time. No one gave a shit.
No.
Like we weren't writing about this thing that happened because of some contract beef. Like they weren't dedicating 1,500 words to that back then.
Yeah.
They didn't have the time.
But now everyone needs their 2 cents.
Yeah.
That's where social media has probably affected journalism as well, because now everybody's an expert.
And now we're writing these big pieces on micro issues. Have you noticed the amount of micro issues you see pieces on? Like think pieces on? It's like, man, why are we talking about this micro issue for 2 or 3 days? Like it should be done after an hour.
Right, you're right.
And that's the issue I find with kind of the downside of like kind of the internet and social media and journalism, that micro issues become macro.
Do you think there's enough critique within journalism in our scene?
No.
Hell no. Of course
Yeah,
not.
I feel that way too. I feel as though
Yeah, we're definitely
just not even just in journalism, just across the board. I feel as though there isn't enough criticism of the most popular artists within the UK scene. I think a lot of people are scared to say certain things.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, they don't want to maybe
reference
burn some bridges.
Our rappers here are sensitive as well, isn't it? I think UK rappers are kind of just outside looking in. It just seems UK rappers are sensitive.
We could leave the studio right now and bump into one rapper that we criticised.
Yeah, because London's small. But at the same time, it depends. I think it should always depend on how your critique comes off.
I think it's shifting now. It's starting to change. I mean, you could talk about a DWE Gets or someone like that now, not worry that you're going to get blocked
Yeah.
because they're big enough. But
Wiley will definitely block you though.
yeah, why?
We can live with that one. Yeah.
We can live with that.
Yeah, I can hold that.
We
block.
can live without blocking, fam. There was somebody unblock us after 2 days. And then DM us, I was bannering. There's always been radio. Like, it's always been a thing. But how hard has internet radio, quote unquote, made journalism more difficult? Like the Breakfast Clubs, the Hot 97.
Media personalities.
Yeah, like, they're media personalities. Like, Charlamagne's not a journalist. Ebro is nothing.
Joe Biden's not a journalist.
Peter
Biden's
Rosenberg's
not a journalist.
Rosenberg's not a journalist.
So yeah, media
Actually,
personality.
he might be the only one that's a journalist.
Media personalities is an interesting one because I see it here in the UK. As well.
ZZ Mills.
Yeah,
on,
the other. I'm not going to say names and all that because I'm not trying to stop. The industry's too small, and I'm not trying to stop.
It is small. It's small. But they're
but yeah,
that's what me and Pete are here for. fam.
Yeah, we can say
That's what me and Pete are here for.
man.
Easy bills. Keep your YouTube page to yourself. That's what me and him.
but
Hold tight, Lippy.
I will. Okay, so I will say something about the difference between what we do, like editorial written stuff, and the media personalities on. I'm not going to name platforms or anything like that, but them man over there, them man there, them man there. And this isn't throwing shade or whatever. We go into this because we want to write stories. We want to tell these artists stories. We want to amplify the culture, amplify these people and the music and everything like that. You want to become a media personality and present because that's what you want to do. You just want to be in front of the camera. And that's all good. There's that's not a negative or a positive, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your kind of end goal is to champion these stories, champion this culture, champion all of that. So then it means that the way that you approach certain situations and certain conversations is very different. So for us, we're always about trying to get to the heart and the truth of the story, because that is just journalism. That's
what your heart's
Media personalities are just out to ask the pressing things that they might think fans would want to know.
Yeah.
Clickbait.
Yeah, essentially. They're,
A lot of times, sometimes they start off as journalists and then they move up to being media personalities and then portraying as journalists.
being that in itself is a skill, because to be able to, like, I can't do that because I'm not nearly as energetic or interested enough in that kind of stuff to want to sit there and ask an artist about kind of who they're dating. I couldn't give a shit if they were kind of jacking themselves off in the shower with me, to be honest.
No, I get it though, man.
So, like,
I couldn't care less for you. Like,
so, but then, like, and that's the thing. I think that's the difference. And I think when we live in a world now where everything is so visual led, that obviously, like, kind of platform, like, kind of where you can go on and kind of talk about kind of like rap or whatever's been happening in the past week for an hour is more entertaining and a lot easier to consume than actually sitting there and reading 1,500 words. I mean, well,
I hear you.
For me personally, I find sitting through an hour of Joe Budden the most like taxing
Bro.
thing ever. That is harder than sitting through 10,000 words. I'll tell you that.
The pull-up is a struggle.
I don't watch Joe Budden as much as I did before.
I listen to it on the move. I can't.
Yeah,
sit
no, I
there.
can't sit there and just watch. Like,
Are we talking about the podcast or are we talking about the pull-up?
I don't really do the pull up unless it's
the
someone.
pull up I do depending on the artist.
I just can't do it, bro.
No, the pull up I could do
Because that's what he
depending
tries to
on
be mad, like journalistic.
the artist. Yeah,
and
no,
that,
the
and I'm
pull up
just
I
like,
could do
bruh,
depending on the artist.
I don't think he's great at that though.
He's not.
He's
not.
yeah.
Because even on State of the Culture, I don't feel like he's that great at that either.
I don't think any of them are besides Jinx.
Yeah.
And
I
guess
like
what
Jinx.
Jinx
Jinx
was?
is the only one I
Jinx
like.
was a journalist.
Yeah, Jinx is an actual
Yeah,
journalist.
Jinx is the
actual
only one.
journalist.
But you can tell they stand out
He
like
brings
a sore
new
thumb.
ones. He brings new ones.
Like,
and that's why journalists
and
will always
logic.
be important.
Yeah.
And logic.
And you can tell he stands out like a sore thumb. Like the way he operates, the questions he asks, the integrity of him, if that makes sense. Not
How
saying
he
they don't have
articulates
integrity,
himself, yeah.
but like the way he carries himself, he cares about. He's not here to hear gossip. He
Yeah.
generally is just here to come. But the problem is when the biggest kind of music platforms, quote unquote, are like the Breakfast Club and it's all gossip based. That's all people run to. Like
But it's also another form of journalism, which is probably going to increase in the next few years.
I think that's all. That's
Because you could even say Nori is technically a journalist because of Drink Champs. He's asking
but-
people questions.
yeah, but it's like I get it. It's not question. Nah.
Hey, I mean,
No,
he's
but
not,
quote,
but
unquote, I get what you're saying.
someone might call him one. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
you could call it celebrity journalism or whatever. Like,
Like someone might call Charlamagne a journalist, even though what he does is not journalism. Or
Yeah,
even,
people don't know the meaning,
like,
really.
look at like Envy. All he does is just ask people. So, where did you come? Like, how did you start? Envy asks the same question.
But he's
every
not.
interview.
He doesn't count himself.
No, but
as
I'm
a
saying, but
journalist,
people
though.
will just based on the fact that you're
He
interviewing
asks
someone.
questions.
Not
Seems-
envy.
Not envy. I'm saying I think the way people view, unfortunately, is like as soon as you're in front of a camera and you ask questions, some people might class you as a journalist.
the thing is,
Do I think they are?
yeah,
No, but like
the industry itself, like labels and all that, still value written journalism so highly.
They need it.
They need,
they
yeah.
need it. Like it's needed.
It's
Like,
needed.
It's needed.
It's just that younger audiences aren't buying into it as much as people thought that they would.
I think it will come back round though.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's cyclical.
I think it will. as
Yeah, I
well.
think it's cyclical. I think it will come back round to where print journalism is where people go to. I think like it's cyclical. Not more than obviously visual, but people, the young audience will naturally just gravitate towards, I think, just reading pieces again. Like, it just is what it
Well, the young audience will get older.
Yeah.
And I think in that sense, it will be cyclical. I think online journalism is always going to have its merit. As Jesse said, like with labels and companies and stuff like that, they need that to tick off their box, especially if there's like an artist rollout going on. To the point about like media personalities, especially in the UK, yeah, I mean, a lot of them are just there just to get to a certain place. Like some of them might start by writing and becoming media personalities as well, and the integrity to really dedicate yourself to finding out about someone maybe isn't there as much. So, but that's only going to continue. Like we have a young generation of people in the industry who are making their way up and going to be doing that sort of thing anyway. So that's just going to continue.
But I definitely feel like there's space for like almost a Larry King-esque type of platform in the UK for like just artists. I mean, not for the radio is like kind of closest thing to that, where the actual discussion isn't just kind of gossip and all that. You actually
actual
getting
music.
Yeah, you're actually getting a real hour's worth of good quality where you're not skipping.
But you want something that's just focused on kind of.
But yeah, you want something that's kind of not. I'm not trying to say highly intellectual or anything like that, but in a sense where.
I'm with you though,
But
bro.
like Larry
That's
King,
what we're working towards.
Larry King is asking these artists so many interesting questions, and the way he's asking them, like I don't know. It's just
The avenue he comes
yeah,
down.
the avenue, and
it's
you
mad.
can only have that if you come from a certain type of background, like in journalism, and you have to be either trained in that or taught that, or you pick it up along the way. And it's hard to do that if you're just starting off as a media personality and you're just wanting to have a YouTube channel. Like,
Well, that's what we got Yemi for.
Is it?
Them questions there, fam.
I think it's similar to podcasts these days as
Yeah.
well, where like, you know, a lot of podcasts are gossip based. There aren't many that are focused purely on the arts and music.
I don't know how many there is that's just based on music alone.
UK or
No,
US.
yeah, like with no gossip. No, besides us,
obviously,
I mean,
but-
we're the goats, but like not based just music solely. Besides us, especially in the UK, no, can't think of any off the top of my head.
that actually go in depth and talk about music and non-gossip stuff.
Yeah, you have to scratch your head.
Salute to us. And salute to all the publications that are trying to do that. Obviously, Trench as well. I mean, GRM, Link Up, SB, they do what they need to do to make this whole thing make sense. There probably is a need for more infrastructure, but slowly but surely, I'm hoping we'll get there. Because there's, as well as myself, Jesse, other people in our generation, there's also people coming up from the writers, especially who are like they're getting more and more bylines in like bigger magazines as well, and their writing's good. So I feel like we are on our way to like more of a structure when it comes to like journalism in this country anyway. And as far as hip hop journalism generally, but there's always going to be a need for it. Like people's stories need to be told. They're not going to be told by way of a media personality, really. They're going to be told in depth by the people who actually care about the music and stuff as well. So after such a deep discussion, we're going to tell each other our favourite 3-track sequences. Now,
I need to double check with something.
That's a good one. I've got a few, to be
I
honest.
need to double check with something.
What are you checking?
We don't include interludes, right?
It's a free track.
I'm just saying, you said the first 3 tracks or just 3 tracks?
Free tracks.
The first 3 tracks?
3 tracks on the album, bro.
I thought, never mind, I went off the first 3
depends on
tracks.
what you mean. What if you think an interlude is a track, then yeah.
Nah, I don't. I went off the first 3 tracks. Or do you just mean 3 in
Just
general?
free, bro.
Just 3 great songs on the album.
Yes, in a row.
Yeah, in a row. Okay, that 1, 2. Okay, I get it.
Bro, you overcomplicate things, man.
I really did, because I thought you meant the first 3, but I don't know why I thought that.
I don't know why you thought that either. to be
Neither
honest.
do I.
I mean, yeah.
I wonder about you sometimes.
I apologize, guys, fam. Maybe it's
Don't apologise to me.
It's when you told me you smelled George Swift's neck, fam. Why have we discombobulated since?
Oh, my God. Peter, do you want to begin with your favourite 3-track sequence?
Hold on one sec.
Because I've got like 5.
You got 5.
I've only got 2.
I've got 5 sets.
You got 5 sets. You
I've
man
got 5 sets of
cheaters,
3.
bruv.
You man went crazy.
Look, man, I was on the
One
train this
set,
morning.
man.
I was
One set.
Hey, nah.
3 tracks off any album.
I
you
can't
want.
do that, sir.
All right, cool. I've decided to go for Ghostface, Supreme Clientele. The 3 tracks in a row. I think you have the intro, and then you got Nutmeg. And when you start off an album like that,
Oh, Lord.
it's just disrespectful, isn't it? So he goes into Nutmeg, then he goes into One, then he goes into Saturday Night. I was like, yeah, nah, you're disrespectful, bro. What are you doing?
You
Like,
love that
what-
word, did it?
Bro, I was just like, yo, how dare you?
How dare you?
It just sounded sick. It just sounded sick, man. It just sounded like
I forgot
triumphant.
about One.
And I think he was coming off the back of a lot of legal problems. I think when he drops the first album, Iron Man, he was quite in a low place. So, like, just the sound of like Nutmeg, it just sounded very triumphant. I felt that was like a left jab, and then One was like a right jab, and then Saturday Night was like an uppercut.
Nutmeg always just sounded to me like he was walking through some kind of hood botanical gardens.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
Great way
Like,
to
he's just walking
describe
through like just some flowers, some geraniums.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
So yeah, that's my 3. That's the sequencing on that is just amazing to me.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Jesse, what you got?
Oh man, I've got loads of 3-track sequences that just go off. But at the moment, my favourite one is off of Tanner Talk 3 by Benny the Butcher. So that is Who Are You with Royce the 5'9", 51 with West Side Gun, and then Rick. Like that 3-track sequence is just some of the finest producing.
Yeah.
Like Alchemist and Derringer as well. Like
Derringer needs more flowers,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Alchemist is an alien, bruv.
We might have to start putting Derringer in there too, man. Because
Yeah.
his production
No,
is just like out of this world, man.
Yeah, me.
Okay, so work with me, guys. So the first set I've got is from NWA Straight Outta Compton album, and it's Straight Outta Compton, Fuck the Police, and Gangsta Gangsta. Now, when I first heard this album, I couldn't get past those first 3 tracks because, like, 3 amazing classic songs back to back to back. So, like, I'll always love that 3-track sequence. Another one I got is from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Dark Fantasy, Gorgeous, and Power. Because, I mean, come on.
strong.
Come on.
Yeah,
Dark Fantasy,
strong, bro.
Dark
I had the
Fantasy,
screenshots.
Dark Fantasy, you know what I mean? Probably
I had the same screenshot, by the way.
RZA's last
I had the same screenshot.
great amazing beat. Oh, you had it?
I had a
Wait, you
screenshot.
said RZA's last great amazing beat. Did he produce
Yo, he
that?
took off his glasses.
He co-produced it. He co-produced
Come
it.
on, man.
Come on. Of course. His name was in the credits, my G.
Bro, come on,
What
man.
would you mean?
RZA, nah, man. RZA ain't made like a fire beat since the 90s, man. We have to be real.
He co-made Dark fantasy.
What, he like turned the knob? Ooh.
Don't do that. Why are you doing that though? Why are you doing
I'm
that?
sorry, man.
Why are you doing that? There was
We debate this all the time.
There was no need for that at all.
RZA's run wasn't long enough, man.
Nah, man, it's a GOAT run, man.
He done a lot.
Nah, it's a GOAT run. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not arguing this. But anyway, so that's another one. And then my next one is from the Black Star album.
Oh,
Astronomy 8th Light, Definition and Redefinition.
Okay.
And that was mainly for definition and redefinition because 1-2 punch, man.
Yeah.
I've got a few others as well.
Bro,
got the
by all
lot there,
means.
yeah.
by
I've
all
got a
means.
couple more too, I can't lie.
Exactly. There you go. So yeah,
I still
man.
need to go.
You're going, bro.
There you go. Classic
good?
album.
Are you guys still going?
No. I'm
Niggas
maybe
reading off a
just go.
chopper, fam.
Yeah, I am. I only got
This
two
guy
more.
reading
I only
off
got
a
two more.
chopper,
I've only
bro.
got two more. Relax. All right. So the next one is from Boy in the Corner.
Okay.
Sitting here, stop that, and I love you. I mean, come on. They just
Flawless.
give you everything. Like sitting here is the very pensive, introspective, kind of slowy type beat, and then you got the straight grime of stop that, and then the straight grime of I love you. It's just lovely. It's just lovely. And my last one is from Liquid Swords by Jizza. Liquid Swords, Duel of the Iron Mike, and Living in the World Today. More dope RZA beats
Okay.
that he actually produced in the 90s. But there you go.
That's dope.
I'm done. Mohammed.
So obviously I've done it incorrectly,
Of course you have.
but we move.
You were waiting
you not
for me
say
to
that?
finish just to tell us that you did it
I've
incorrectly.
done it incorrectly, but we move. I've still got some of the similar albums, but I've just kind of realigned what I think. I had Good Kid. I had a Bitch Don't Give a Vibe. Backseat Freestyle, The Art of Peer Pressure. So I think that was three dope back to back songs. What else did I have? I had the same as you with Dark Twisted Fantasy, but you robbed me, so I don't want to be childish.
We'll move.
What you say?
We move.
Those are the two I had actually. I didn't go as many as you, man. I had others, but I done it kind of the start.
Oh, the first three.
Yeah,
tracks.
so if I had the first three, for example, one of the first three I had was Teflon Don, I'm Not a Star, Freemason, and Tears of Joy. I had that here, and I also, what else did I had? I also had Black Album, December 4th, What More Can I Say, and Encore. So if we had the first three tracks, those would have been three great albums. You see what I'm saying? And I also had the first three, I also had 50 with What's Up Gangsta, Patiently Waiting, and Many Men. So I feel like
That's cold.
that was a great way to start the album.
cool,
Like 50 Cent let you know off the gate.
Yeah.
This is what the album is. And this, so then 3 tracks to start off an album, those were the kind of ones I went for. So the Black Album, Teflon Don, Good Kid, and 50s.
Yeah. I mean, I've got another one, which was Only Built for Cuban Links. This is very like, this is woo like.
I'm saying, man.
section, like.
They knew their sequencing.
Yeah, so I had Knowledge, God, Criminology, and Incarcerated Scarface. And it was just greasy, man. That's the best word I can use.
Wait, who produced those
Raekwon is greasy, bro.
Who produced those beats though? Yeah.
Prince Rakim.
Prince Rakim. What, the Abbott, yeah?
Yeah,
The one of Zigzag Zigala.
I'm the only one who knows that, by the way. He's just greasy though, man. Like, and RZA was greasy back then too. Like he couldn't do no wrong. I'm not even gonna front. He could do no wrong. But those three, yeah, man. And when they got to Incarcerated Scarface, yeah, so that was just cold. And then I got another one which was Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait. This one or this two?
This one. No, wait, this two.
Okay, cool. I got one for this
I got
two.
Shorty Wanna Be a Thug, Holler at Me, and Wonder Why They Call You Bitch.
I wonder why they call you a bit.
Yeah.
Well, you had the same
Yeah,
thing.
Tupac was disrespectful, bro.
No. Oh,
I wonder why they call you.
no. Okay,
What you got?
I've got to go back to the album. Give me 2 secs.
Yeah, Tupac.
Because I've been listening to All Eyes on Me a lot recently. I've just like added quite a few of the songs to my gym playlist.
Oh yeah.
So like, and there's even on this one, there's a 3-track sequence. I think it's what is it? All About You, Scandalous, and then How Do You Want It?
Do you know what I looked at that as well?
Because
Yeah,
Scandalous. Yeah, Scandalous is a like, I don't know what it is. When you're running to Scandalous, like there's a fucking saxophone and then there's the beat.
Bro,
And
it sounds magical, man.
You might run into a
It
saxophone.
sounds like crystals, just like
It's
crystals
so
just dropping
sick, yeah.
somewhere, bro. It sounds like
audience,
amazing,
The
bro.
other two songs are
Audience,
epic
Peter,
as well.
Peter flicked his pinky ring when he said
But no, I've got
I tried to ignore it.
I've got Picture Me Rolling, Checkout Time, and Rather Be Your Nigga.
Yeah.
I think Richie Rich's verse is so underrated on Rather Be Your Nigga. Like he just doesn't get enough love for that one verse.
I'm telling you.
I don't know whether it's the cadence, the style, and the beat itself that it just works. Other ones I've got Freddie Gibbs, Bandana, so Practice, Cataracts, and goddamn. Like those three, like the sequencing on that.
Yeah.
Like Madlib, like when Madlib dropped the instrumental album of Bandana, I was like, yeah, no, this is one of the best rap albums like this decade.
Madlib's a disrespectful guy, man. He's disrespectful.
He's had his
bro.
hand in how many like.
No,
I was watching that Complex interview he did.
I saw that
recently.
too.
Yeah, and like I felt sorry for Pierce Simpson because it's like you're trying to get blood out of a stone, but at the same time, like
It's Madlib though.
Madlib is Madlib, and yeah, you're right, he is disrespectful. You probably could have taken any 3-track sequence from that album and put that as like one of your favorites. Like, there's too many.
Easy.
There's way too many,
Easy,
man.
bro.
Flipping out. What kind of rating? Like, if we're gonna do it like as far as like stars, 5 stars, 1 to 5 stars. If you've got like a perfect 3-track sequence, how does that affect your rating of an album?
It pushes it up.
It pushes it up,
but it depends on.
By how much?
It depends how bad.
It depends
the
on
other
how many
songs
tracks
are.
are on the album as well, though. Is it a 12-track album? Is it a?
Let's say it's a 12-track album. It's a decent album, and it's got like a perfect 3-track sequence. What rating would you say you'd give that?
And what are the rest of the songs
Or
like?
decent to bad?
About 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
About 6 or 7.
Although Police's Tasty
Mm.
is arguably one of the few albums I've ever listened to where you can take any 3-track sequence from that, and it's just as good as any other 3-track sequence you take from it. Like from top to bottom, it was so good that, and it's so well produced that each song as well, like standalone, was great. I think it was
Those Neptunes in there, Prime too.
yeah, exactly. So it had Sugar, Honey Iced Tea, Millionaire, Go Outside in Public. What? Yeah. Let's Get It On in Public. All of them ones, all of them were banging, and I think that's the one album where I can say, nah, I can't even decide on a 3-track sequence because the whole album is that good.
Yeah. Bandana's that for me.
Yeah.
Probably Good Kid, Mad City as well. That was, and for me, that was an amazing album as well.
This was hard to do though, man. I really had to just think about some of my favorite albums.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
It was difficult, man. And then it made me realize how important sequencing is as well. Like you can really like affect the mood of an album if songs are like placed incorrectly. I think I might have like underappreciated that up until thinking about this topic.
Yeah, man. I think as you get older, like your ear and like what you consider to be great and all the intricacies in that just get louder and louder and louder.
Because you can place a bad song or a song that's not as good as the 2 songs that come afterwards, and it might be because that song is placed where it is, why the 2 after that bang as well as they do. I didn't deep that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I mean, it's the same for me with Bandana. Like, there's some songs which that have grown on me so much more since it's come out because of where they're placed. Like, I think Flat Tummy Tea was cool. I always liked it.
I love that song, man.
But it grew on me because of where it's placed. Like, it comes at just the right time. And then Giannis as well is perfect because it just comes before practice, which is...
See, I wasn't feeling Giannis though when I first heard it.
I wasn't as well, but now it just it goes off because I kind of like that tempo before it kind of goes into something a little bit more smooth and mellow, and then Cataracts is just perfect place. I think the whole album is structured perfectly, just from where it starts to where it ends. Like ending on Education, like it's just perfect.
Can any of you think of an album where a song was placed in between? So a song basically messed up the sequencing of songs that came after it, if that makes sense. So I had one in mind. I was listening to Drake's More Life recently, and I think it might have been Medaiba, Passion Fruit, and I feel like George's interlude came in between one of those, and I think it might have messed up the flow.
Really?
Can you, man, think of a song or an album that maybe messed up the flow?
J. Cole done that with 24. I know I keep saying it, but with 2014 for a source, if you remember.
What song?
So you remember he had He had a spank. He had, I think, Fire Squad. Then he had no role models. So you're on a hype and on a mad hype, and then he goes to Hello. I don't know if you remember. And Hello was just it was bare somber, and then he went back to apparently was hype.
Okay.
So it's like he literally had 5 songs in a row. He had 3 good songs, by the way, like 3 solid tracks. Back to say, I think it was Central Pay, Fire Squad, and then no role models. And then he had Hello, and Hello for me is the worst song in that whole album. But it was just, I didn't get it.
Yeah, but just did it
was
mess
just,
it up then for you?
Yeah, it was just like, what's it? Like, it had no business in that. it had no business on the album, number one, but it had no business on right there. Like, you don't bring Hello straight after No Role Models, when No Role Models was the best song on the album.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
What?
About J. Cole. You're right. I think that jarred me as well with that album.
Yeah, like, it's bare weird.
J. Cole might low-key be the king of that.
Just putting random places in random spots, bro.
He might low-key be the king
Yeah,
of
like,
that.
he even done it on, I think he done it with Born Sinner when he put, I think it was not Trouble, but he put a random song in that.
I mean, his first album was just like bad sequencing all around.
Yeah. But like,
Oh, Ladies Hit Squad and Konnichiwa.
I was looking at that as well. Yeah.
Like, it's gone from Crime Rhythm, Corn on the Cob, Crime Rhythm, It Ain't Safe, to then Ladies Hit Squad, Numbers, and then Man, Gang. It's like, fam, like, we're on a hype, then you kind of try
it's
to do
weird. But I hate
sexy.
when
It's like,
rappers do that, man. I can't
like,
stand it.
fam, like, I don't want to go from hype to sexy to hype.
Yeah, that's a bit mad still.
Yeah, that's a bit wild.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't think of any, to be honest.
Nah. Only one I can think of is Hello off the top of my head, because it was it's the most jarring song I've ever heard of J. Cole. Like, throw it in the bin, man. Along with the first album.
Oh my God. Whole world.
Well, Silent, I throw that in the bin. I hate that
Sideman
album.
Stories.
I hate that album.
I call it Sideman Stories.
Nah, I hate that album.
Like,
You know what's mad? It's got a
Mo's a-
lot. Don't get me wrong,
Mo's a
it's got a
J.
lot
Cole
of
stan.
singles. But as an album, throw it in the bin, man. Throw it in. Oh my.
I thought the single with Missy was actually one of the best.
Nobody's
songs.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
I love
what.
that
Yeah,
song.
but like he's got a few singles. Like he had, I think, at the actual Cold World song and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I
Just
don't know
as
what. Yeah, like there's nothing.
It was just
to
an
It's
album of singles.
Yeah, it's literally just a compilation album. Like
Yeah.
literally take that, put that there, and then put this here, and then for me, straight after that, he came up with his best album, which was Born Sinner. So it's like, yo, like what was you? But I feel like his first album. I know we're going on a bit of a tangent. I feel like that was 100% for the record label.
Yeah,
I think that genuinely was.
It
just
was.
Like, hey,
It was.
guys, take this album,
Yeah.
let it go number one, and then don't hassle me with what I do from now on.
Yeah.
No, do you know what I mean?
Essentially, yeah.
It's literally like, all right, you've got your number one album.
Yeah.
Clearly, I've got fans. Don't hassle me now. Like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you can tell from he's been trying to craft the perfect album since then, and he's still working
It
on
might
it.
not ever happen.
I don't personally think 2014 is his best album. But
I
for
think
some
Born
reason,
Sinner
was
was just that bit too long.
yeah, because
But-
it was Miss America. He had a
Yeah.
bit bare like Chaining Days. Miss America. He had a few. It was like 5-6 songs. It was like 5 songs too long.
But it was a strong album. I think it's his strongest album.
I think the
yeah.
same here, but a lot of people feel like it's 2014 Forest Hills. A lot of people do though. Like a lot of people think 2014 Forest Hills is his best album.
Conceptually, I think KOD is the strongest album. As far as everything else, Born Sinner's up there. For me,
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
it's probably second.
For me,
Friday Night Light still for me.
Friday Night's a classic though, but that's a mixtape.
It's his best project.
But to me, it's literally For Your Eyes Only and what's the Silent Story? Keep that, man.
Yeah.
For Your Eyes, he tried to make it a classic so bad.
Once I heard,
He tried to make
you
it
know, it was
so
when I heard
bad.
Folded Clothes, I was like, oh, come on. And you know what's mad? This is how much of a J. Cole fan I am. I even saw that live.
You saw him flow close.
I really
right?
like that song.
I want to Fold
like that song
Clothes.
too.
Well, guys, that's the end of the podcast.
All right, cool. Well, if we ain't got anything else, yeah, I guess we'll wrap up. So, yeah, thank you very much, Jesse, for coming through.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
Honestly,
thank you so
appreciate
much.
How can people find you if you want them to find you?
Don't find me, please. I'm not out here.
I said,
I'm
leave me and my right to peace.
I'm joking now. Marvin's Corridor on Twitter and Instagram.
I appreciate you again, bro.
No, thank
I
you.
always
for
wanted to
having
ask you, what was that? Why Marvin's Corridor? I know why, but why?
me. Man, I was bored. I was bored and I needed a new Twitter handle back in 2011, and I thought, yeah, so Marvin's Room obviously had just dropped around the time, and I was trying to be funny, and I was like, Marvin's Corridor. And then-
Stuck.
And I actually found out later that Marvin's Room is actually the studio in which
Marvin Gaye, yeah. Yeah.
they recorded the song and all that. I didn't know that. Like,
Cool.
yeah, so like the handle makes sense now, like musically and all that. Yeah.
All leads back to the music. All right, cool. Well, thank you for tuning in once again. We'll be back next time.
Appreciate you, bro.
Oh, thank you for
100%.
having
Appreciate
me,
you,
yeah.
Jesse. And until then, I don't have a saying to say. So
Stay black if you're black, stay white if you're white. Da-da-da-da-da.
And if you want to change your,
That's
and
what
if you want to
you
change your
do.
color, because that might be a thing, don't.
That's literally how he signs off, innit?
What?
That's how Yemi signs
If
off.
you're black, black, stay. If you're white, stay
Right,
white.
right.
If you're mixed, stay mixed. And if you want to change it, no.
No. In that boy's teeth.
He's sleeping, isn't it? That's only when he's met Georgia Smith. Hello. How's it going, Georgia? I'm a
Oh,
journalist.
Georgia, we met before.
I'm a journalist.
Let me see.
that was clever.
I'll say it for
That was clever. That was clever. That was clever.
Yeah.
Audience, I want to tell you something real quick. Peter is very burnt by the fact that I told him about David Bowie's extracurricular activities.
Oh,
with,
shit,
Mick
yeah.
Jagger
Oh,
in the
David
70s.
Bowie being a bit.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah, he
I
was
think
hurt.
that's just his aggression coming out,
he
his
was hurt
frustration
about
and that.
No, I was just shocked.
Who else was we talking about?
Mick Jagger and David Bowie.
And Biggie said, "You look so good."
No, and Luther Vandross.
And Biggie said,
And Richard
"You look
Pryor.
so good."
No, not
that
so
is-
much the Biggie thing.
Oh,
Not even so much the
yeah,
Biggie
we don't want
thing.
to talk about that, yeah? You look so good, I'll suck your daddy. We don't want to talk about that.
We can. That's fine.
I'll fuck RuPaul before I fuck any of you escape bitches.
But what does that mean?
That's a
Let me
that's
wrap
a,
up.
that's a wild one.
That's a wild.
But you know
It
who's
is
got
a
wild
wild
lines as well? We overlooked a lot of wild lines. DMX.
Oh,
DMX got bare wild lines. DMX said, "What do you say? Something you. What do you say? You. What do you say? You look at my face while he's sucking it or something like that." Remember? What do you say?
Don't say you remember. I don't remember shit.
No, what do you say? Like,
You gotta tap me like, yo, you remember it? Nah, bro.
What do you say? Something while he's sucking it, motherfucker. Yeah, legit.
Oh my God.
DMX has got bare
I ain't
lines.
registered that bar.
Yeah,
It
nah.
was in his biggest song.
None of these men are
Yeah,
madder than
so-
Eminem. Eminem still got the wildest
Yeah,
shit.
but Eminem wants to kill everyone because he's white.
He does not have the wildest stuff. But on that note,
Yo, no rappers
on
ever
that
spoke
note,
But
about
you want to
killing
kill
their
your mum.
mum.
Suck on
your
your
daddy's
You want to
dick.
kill your mum.
Suck on your daddy's dick is wild.
But you want to kill your mum. Hear what I'm saying? People really
Your
do-
mother, the person that brought you into
Nah,
this.
but I'm just deep in it. Like, you look so good, you make me want to suck on your.
But that's a joke.
Yeah,
though.
but
that's a joke. With Eminem, he probably means
But that's
it.
a joke. But that,
How do we know Biggie don't mean it?
Biggie
But
don't
that's
mean
not
it.
Biggie don't mean it.
but that's
Stop
a joke. Like,
Eminem
in
means
what
it.
context
How do
is
you
anyone
know?
laughing at that? You're all looking at.
You laughing now?
I'm laughing. I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of me saying you look so good. I want to suck your daddy's dick. Like,
It's just petting the dozens, isn't it? You know, it's just a bit of banter.
that's across the lines of banter.
Playing the dozens. Yo.
Hey, man.
You would have a dozen people rushing you if you said that. to me.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Biggie,
I
but
mean, yeah.
Eminem takes the
Eminem,
wild
yeah,
trophy.
Eminem's
fam.
the wildest,
But
yeah.
Eminem's white as well. He'll pull through with it. If Eminem wasn't
No,
a
he
rapper,
won't.
if Eminem wasn't a rapper, he'd be doing
Eminem is
25
not
to
killing
life.
his mum.
Eminem will be doing 25 to life if he wasn't a rapper.
Yeah, facts.
We don't know that. We don't know
Eminem,
that.
we know that,
This
man.
guy would have
We
killed
don't know
Kim.
that.
He would have killed his mum.
don't
Kim
know.
would have held a couple
Then he
licks.
would have gone to Iraq War, come back and done a whole
Fam,
lot of
say it,
madness.
fam.
Rumbo over there.
Come on, like, Eminem's a bit racist as well. Eminem would have done a lot of wild stuff.
We don't know that.
We have seen Eminem say nigga.
Dr. Dre encouraged it, man.
Why you got to do that?
Hey,
I told
man.
you.
Hey, man.
I told you he did.
Salute to everyone that listens to the podcast. Man.
And on that note, we'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.